You already mentioned meeting Todd.
Yes.
Do you still recall your first meeting?
Yeah. We had met on like a message board, like a, because it was pre a lot of online stuff, but there was an online message board for this venue. It was just like a musicians wanted thing, and I was looking for someone to play guitar with, and I messaged Todd, and I was the only one to reply to him, and he came over to where I was living. I was living with a bunch of other students, and yeah, it was quite funny because he came in and we were kind of sounding each other out, and we sat on these two single beds and played guitar, and it was kind of really weird. It's probably terrible, and I don't know why we continued it because I don't remember it actually being that good or anything. But I think it was just the fact that there's nobody else at the time. But eventually it worked out. It worked to our advantage.
What song did you play?
I can't even remember. It would have been something I'd written because I kind of had a lot of songs. And when we first started playing, a lot of the songs were songs that I had written for acoustic, and then we tried to kind of make into a band stuff, and that didn't really work well. The best way to work we've later found was if it was an acoustic song, we kind of morph it into a band thing, as opposed to trying to just keep it acoustic with some drums or a guitar over top. It's best that everyone kind of tore it apart and put it back together.
Yeah, you mean amplifying everything?
Yeah.
Well, you have a new album out now, Promises.
Yes.
It's your fourth album. Sometimes people say, well, an album is a reaction to the previous one. Does it also count for you, for this album?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the previous album was very different. It was a lot more natural. Natural in the way we recorded it, to us being in one room together when we recorded it, to how we wrote it together. It was done to tape. It was kind of taking the, not necessarily what was the best, but what hit the heartstrings the best. Does that make sense? It, like, kind of more for the moments as opposed to like the best take. But that album was also very the Cold Steel was very mid-tempo, downbeat kind of stuff and introspective, and so the reaction after that was that we wanted to do something upbeat and uplifting, and so that's kind of what we did. Yeah. We recorded it very differently and wrote it very differently.
Yeah, well, how in what way did you record it and wrote it?
Well, usually it would be a thing where I'd bring in a song, or Todd would bring in an idea or whatever, and then we would kind of jam around that whole thing and then work it into some sort of cohesive song. Whereas this time it was, because we've been rehearsing in this same room for about 8 years, but then we bought some equipment and turned it into our own little recording studio. And we have we just started with a lot of loops, or sometimes just a sound on a keyboard. It was a lot more keyboard based to begin with, the writing, and we would kind of write the song, make sure it was written, and then kind of layer everything around it, because we could record it as we were writing it, where we've never really had that before, and that's why it was so different, because we could record bits and then go back and take out sections and stuff like that. I think we could be a little we could be a little bit more like fine-tooth comb through everything. Like make sure that we got the best out of every song.
But how did you prevent from over-producing, over-analyzing the songs?
I don't know. I think, well, I guess because we've been a band for over, well, like 12 years, and we've been writing songs for a long time, and because we're kind of our own A&R, we're our own record label, we've learned how to, and we've produced other albums of ourselves. We've become very good at quality control, I think, and knowing when to stop, and also setting deadlines, because I think that's pretty important. You know, not like crazy deadlines, but you know, just so we stop at some point. Plus, we ended up finishing it off with producer Billy Bush. So by the time we went to record with him, we had a whole album of really good demos. I mean, they're almost better than demos, but we knew that was when that was starting, and so we knew when we had to finish, and that helps.
And the album is called Promises.
Yes.
It's also the last song on the album.
Yes.
Why did you name the album after this song?
Because it seemed to kind of fit the just the mood of the album as a whole, as well as that song. But it just seemed to fit the mood, because it's supposed to be, well, to me the album's very like kind of looking back on your life and kind of know the promises you've made in your life, and how things don't always work out. And but it's not necessarily even though you made these promises, I don't know, when you're a kid or a teenager or a young adult or whatever, you don't always life doesn't always work out the way you think it is, but it doesn't mean it's for the worse. It could a lot of times be for better, and that's kind of, I think, what a lot of songs are about. Just kind of take each day as it comes, not worry about hitting your targets too much. Just yeah, basically.
What did turn out for you? The promise you made yourself when you were a kid. What turned out?
Well, I wanted to be in a band in England. I remember when I was a teenager, I thought that'd be a really cool thing. So that worked out.
And what didn't work out?
Maybe we'd be a little bit more successful. I don't know. But we're doing okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.